Hi there, thanks for watching the video. Let me show you what we're going to be building here. So this is just a dashboard for restaurant servers for tracking income on a weekly basis. It does some goal tracking right here, and you can see the gauges right here. This is adjustable, so if I raise my goal, I pay attention to these two numbers right here. So let's raise the goal to 1200 and take a look and see what happens. So we can see that this updates is red because it's short of the goal. This is going to tell us how short we are. And it's going to be reflected here on these two gauge charts, which we're going to build in a later video. So if I set it back to 1000, you'll see everything update on it. Also, we can update the date. So we can look at different weeks. On this one right now, I'm going to have to force the refresh. I'm trying to work on a way to get that to change. And you can see here that everything has changed because it's referencing a different week. Also have some charts here that are referencing different data points, and we'll go over that later when we get to them. For right now, I just wanted to give you an idea of what it was we're building and let you see it in action a little bit. So when I come back, we're going to start off with a fresh sheet. We're going to build this all from scratch. Okay, so here we are back with a fresh workbook, and I went ahead and pasted my header in so you didn't have to watch me type. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to enter a date. I'm going to enter the date I started tracking data, and later on we'll be pasting in some data that I'm going to provide. There'll be a link to it below. I also want to start in the AM, so we'll have AM and PM for everything. So now we can start entering in some formulas that'll automate that for us. So we want to create an AM and a PM for every day. So this is why we entered this up here, because we're going to reference this. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make an if statement. If this cell equals AM, is get that cell there. So our value, if false, is we want to enter that cell plus 1. So that'll advance the date. And I'll show you all this in action in just a minute. So let's pop over to the cell right here, and we're going to want to enter another if statement here. And this one is pretty simple. If this cell above is equal to AM, then we want to make this cell equal to PM, otherwise AM. There we go. And let me show you why we're doing this, because we want to have an AM and PM for every day, and now we do. See, there's an AM and a PM reference for each day. So the next thing we want to do is we want to have the month selected. So we're going to do that with a text function. And we want to pull from this cell because we want to reference the date. And then it's going to ask us for a format text, how we want to format it. So that's going to open some quotes and put 4 lowercase m's in there. And then that should give us the month. So now we want to pull the day of the week. So what we get here is the day of the week, and we're getting a number. The reason we're getting a number is because we're getting the 4th day of the week. So what we want to do to fix that is we want to wrap this in a choose function. So we're going to nest it. So I'm just going to do some quick little abbreviations. All right, so we're just making it choose one of these days. So it should choose Wednesday, which it did. All right, so if we move on, we've got sales. That's going to be information that we enter. We don't need to worry about that. Station, we're entering that. Credit card tips, cash tips. So we have tip out. So this is a pretty easy function. Our tip out for me is going to be 4% of my sales. So I want to take my sales and I want to multiply it by 0.04. So let's enter in some sales information here real fast, just some dummy information. We'll back it out later. And this will just help let us know that everything we're entering is going to work. So we've got tip out. So my my withheld where I work is equal to my credit card tips times 1.68%. So times 0.0168. So we can see that's working. So net credit card tips, that is going to be equal to my credit card tips minus tip out minus withheld. If you don't have withheld, you don't have to do this. So we can see that's working. So now we can move on to time converted, or converted time. Okay, what we need to do here, the first thing we need to do is we need to take our hours and we need to multiply that times 60 to account for every minute in hours. We're basically converting hours into minutes. Okay, so now we need to add that 120 minutes. We need to add this 30 minutes. We'll wrap this up in some parentheses. And then we'll add minutes. Well, that's great, but that's 150 hours. So what we need to do again, wrap another set of parentheses around it, around both, and then divide it by 60. And 2 hours and 30 minutes is 2.5 hours, is 2.5 hours. So we have that all taken care of. So now we can move on to hourly pay, which is pretty easy. We're going to take our converted time and we're going to multiply it by whatever we get paid an hour. Here in Texas, we make $2.13 an hour waiting tables. So there we go there. Okay, gross income. Gross income is going to be equal to your net credit card tips plus your cash reported plus your hourly pay. Now your actual gross is going to be equal to, again, your credit card tips, your net credit card tips, that is, plus your hourly pay, plus your cash tips. All right, so we've got everything all set up now. All our calculations appear to be working correctly. So we'll start pasting in some data. So here we are. This is where our test data is going to come through. So let's select some data. So we need to pull over our sales data. So we'll just select the first cell and then we'll hold Control-Shift down to select everything. Let's confirm. Okay, so you can see here we have a problem. It's not going to select a cell that doesn't have a value in it, which is going to make it difficult to paste. So what we're going to do is come down here to the bottom. And whoops. And we'll go ahead and do this for all of our data. And the hours and minutes already have values in them. So let's select all that. And how we can fix this problem is we can go over to Find and Select. And if we go to Go to Special, you're going to see down here blanks. So this is going to find anything that's blank. Okay, see how everything is selected that doesn't have a value in it? And we have one active cell. It's got this little green guy here. So enter your value in here. And then we need to hold down, and this is important, otherwise it will not work. Before you hit enter, hold down Control and hit enter. Now it's put zeros in all those boxes. So now we can go back and select. So if we select our sales data, hold Control-Shift down arrow, that'll select everything. We'll confirm. So we can see that everything is selected this time. So we can Control copy that, and then we'll jump back over. So in our sales, we want to select the first cell and just Control V. And while we're at it, let's go ahead and run down all of this. didn't copy down all my other stuff. No, because it's not selected. There we go. So we can select this and this should fill in everything else. There we go. So we can see that'll populate. So we've got our sales data. Station, we'll figure something out with that. So credit card tips. So let's pop back over. So these guys are next to each other, so we'll just select them. Copy them. Pop back over. Alrighty, and there should be one more that we need to get. Actually, more than one. Copy that. Take it back over to our worksheet. Well, we'll cash reported. There we go. All right, popping back over here again. We need our hours and minutes. Actually, let's make sure we're out of that first. Control Shift down, Control C to copy. Back over to our worksheet. Hours and minutes. Paste that in there. And everybody will populate. And if you don't know how I'm doing this, it's just this, grab this tiny little square at the bottom corner and this drag. And that'll copy all your formulas down and fill in your data for you. I think I can, these are all connected, so I can do this. Control Shift works with either direction, so I just did Control Shift up at the bottom. I'm not too concerned about the borders. But that is all of our dummy data pasted in and ready to go. All the calculations look like they're working correctly. So there's just a few more steps we need to do on this. Okay, so now we're going to take all of this and we are going to make a table out of it. So come down here, select the bottom left-hand cell and just drag up to the top left corner. We want to select everything, including the header row. Then we want to go to the Insert tab, and we want to insert a table. So down here, this is the entire range. Make sure that my table has headers box is checked. So this will convert this to a table. And the cool thing we can do with tables is I can now select this, and I can look at something like the individual month. So now I'm only seeing data from August. I could further filter and only look at data from Wednesdays in August. So we can do a lot of cool filtering stuff. And then if you want to disable it, just select all. And we're running two filters, so we need to select them both. Select all. And that is it for this session. Why do I not have a header here? I'm just not seeing it. Oh, because I took it out. Okay. We can put it back in, not a big deal. Okay. Somehow this got formatted into being white. It should not be. There we go. Now it's back. Okay, well that's it for this one. So if you liked this video, if you found it useful, please go ahead and hit like. If you're interested in keeping up with the rest of the videos to build a dashboard, consider subscribing. But I am going to sign off for now and start working on the next video.